Good to roll. I mean,
You said that as soon as you said that.
Right, Ralph, bugger off.
As soon as you said good to go.
Yeah. He just jumped on. You can bugger off, Ralph.
Come on, Ralph.
Chris, you might have to.
Who's it? Ralph.
Ralph, off.
I like the way Ben just sits there and lets it happen. What I wanted to speak to you about as well, before we keep talking about this, is we started. One of the main reasons we chatted is one of the reels I put out, and it was that guy's fit check. Yeah, and it all kicked off, and I got messages about it and voice notes and all sorts. And sometimes when I put those skits out, I hope that whoever sees it, if they do see it, that they have a laugh at themselves, because it is a laugh to me, right? And yeah, I got loads of heat on that, voice notes and all sorts and stuff like that. And Danny was one of the ones I said, yeah, hopefully it was just a laugh, mate, kind of thing. And what I don't want to see is, like, I don't want to, like, the guy obviously kept himself in good shape and things like that. And I don't want everyone that keeps himself in good shape and goes to the gym and is big and everything to think that I'm just ripping into that kind of thing. Because you could equally do it about me being a lightweight runner or whatever.
It's a stereotype, but unfortunately that guy actually is the stereotype.
Exactly.
So, like, I know I look like that, so you could be like, look at that cringe. And I was saying off camera that I turned up to a race and I had a fit check on, right? And I'd been training for a 10K, but I didn't know it was I didn't know the difference. I was training on tarmac and, like, just on the streets, and it was a trail run in the Lake District, right? Yeah. And I had Nike Zoom trainers, which are like platform trainers,
like the
right?
big alpha flies.
Big massive platforms, right? I turned up with the vest on, the sunglasses, the little straw. Like, I looked at the back, I come out of the car, I was like, yeah. And, like, people like middle-aged mums and stuff, like, sniggering at me, right? I'd sprained my ankle straight away because it was like a platform trainer, and people were like, they look nice, but it's not the right one. And then when the gunfire went off, because I sprinted off, didn't I? The adrenaline got to me, right? I did a hill, right? My legs are
imagine seeing Danny
gone, right? Well, then at the end of it, people were in hysterics, like, "Oh, we knew you weren't going to do well," especially with that start. And then, and they were like women that I would never have thought. They just looked like my mum, right? They were hammering me. They were flying past me. I was like a bull mastiff at the back, like, this is hard. It was like soul destroying. Like, I was practicing. I actually trained for like 2 months.
Has anybody got footage of this? Because we need to.
Danny, this is gold. This is like an advert for fellrunning. This is gold.
With the marathon being yesterday, there was that marathon clip where that guy went off the front, wasn't there? And he's looking at the cameras and waving at everything, and he literally sprinted. And it sounds like you.
There was like running clubs round me.
What race was it, Danny? Can you remember what race it was?
Lakes. What was it called? What was it called? Something Lakeland Trails.
Yes.
Lakeland Trails.
Yeah.
And there was like running clubs, right? And the girls were like really pretty. And I thought, I need to look the man. I need to look the part. So it went doof. And I remember there's a pretty girl here, and she was off. So I thought, look, this, I need to show her. So I'm running, right? This is, and I didn't know. I thought, I could probably keep this up. But then there was a hill like that. Once I'd done that one hill, my legs felt like they were jelly. I couldn't feel my legs, right? Then, like, I couldn't breathe. It was, honestly, it was like lifting weights up and down is easy, right? But, like, literally, that was soul destroying, right? I was at the back, it was like, hello, guys, and people were going, are you all right? And at one point, I pretended to sprain my ankle. I wasn't, I was fucked, right? My muscles
I had a hill,
gone.
Then I had another hill,
yeah.
Then I had a hill, then I had another hill.
There was another hill. It was just hills. I've not practiced hills either. So, yeah, it wasn't the best.
Me and Ben will trademark that one.
Oh, classic.
But yeah, I was your typical. So what probably you were just probably definitely that clip was. I laughed at myself when I seen because it's a stereotype. You were picking that guy out.
Yeah.
You were stereotyping probably cringy guys like me. They go to the gym. That's not my thing. I've turned up in all the gear, no idea. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly that. I knew that clip warranted it because it was just ridiculous. Whereas I know there's 99.9% of the guys that have that look, and it's just a different story.
No, well, some people, I do get it. Like, if you're full of tattoos and stuff like that, and there is that stereotype, so I do get it, and some people live up to that. With running as well, I feel that it's become really fashionable, and every person wants like a medal picture with the the Oakley sunglasses on, the little vests and the bright trainers. I got that picture. But I've just not told them the story behind it. I got
just a request from me. Can we have that for the thumbnail, please?
Yes, I've got the it's on my Instagram.
Brilliant.
Was there any, like when you sprinted off at the beginning, was there any part in your brain where you were thinking, I'm doing well here, I'm going to do it,
literally,
I'm going to win this?
It was just before the hill. So just literally probably the first 300 meters. I was like, I'll slow down later when I've passed this girl, right? But then we hit the hill straight away, and it was that first hill. Once I'd done that, my legs, it felt like I'd done 100 squats. My legs had gone underneath me.
Can you remember where it started? What time was it? Ambleside or?
Yeah, it was literally round Lake Windermere. So it was you set off, and it was like just grass for a while, and then. It was like you could see it. So as soon as you set up, there's a hill.
I think it goes up Lothrig.
It probably wasn't that. It probably wasn't that bad of a hill. And I think because I wasn't expecting it.
It is when you're at max effort, mate.
Yeah, and I hammered it right. And then I thought to myself, oh, it must. What must comes up must come down. Nothing went down. And then I was like, and then my leg just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then I just kept getting further back. And then, I looked the part, but I just couldn't.
You had a decent pump on at the finish.
I felt sick. It took me about 2 hours to get. I was like shaking. I was lethargic. I was getting sugars in. And I just thought, wow, like I was white. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And then because I talked about it in the barbershop, you get 10 people in a day cutting hair. Everyone's like, how did you, because I was like, I'm just training for my race. My race. I wasn't racing anybody, right? How did you do? I was like, pretty good. I didn't go into it. And they're like, he's still running. I'm like, no.
Is that your running career?
That's me done.
Losing too much size, mate.
It's not for me. I bought a bike and tried cycling. Same thing happened to me when I did a cycling race. And I thought, you know what, I'll just stick to bodybuilding.
Your story, you wouldn't have known this, but your story and people found out about you having brain surgery, it really blew up. Like you, because I always think of you as the people's champion. I've said that even before this. Like I always like to see you do well because I just think you're a no-nonsense runner. You're not interested in sponsorship deals. You don't do all that fancy shit. You just want to run because you love running. And again, we'll talk about that as well a bit more later. But you wouldn't have had a clue that all this was going on because the media picked it up. The BBC, I think, also picked up this story as well, didn't they? And
I didn't know because I think they'd posted that the race had already set off when the BBC article came out online. So I didn't know anything about that. Leeds Hospital had contacted me. So a lad I'd done a couple of recce's with, he works at Leeds Hospital as a consultant. So he'd got in touch with their media team saying, look, this lass had brain surgery at our hospital and now she's going to attempt the spine. I think it needs to be out there that this is like, it's a good story and it is a positive story. And so Leeds Hospital had contacted me and then their media team must have put out a press release and then it's just whoever picks it up. But I didn't realise once the race had started that the BBC had picked it up. So I would just going, obviously you're not looking at your phone, you're not looking at your messages, didn't know anything.
And the messages, there were so many. I mean, Kim Collison, rightly so, would have got a lot, and the people that did really well in the race, but I reckon you must have got the most, because people do love what you're doing and they are inspired by what you're doing, but you'll have had no clue. Were there any paparazzi out on the course? Were there any, like having a shit in a bush and there's a camera pops up and takes a picture on the back page of the Sun?
I don't know how embarrassing that would have been if someone had got
Not just her brain has fallen out.
Big headline.
I'll save that one for the YouTube hook.
Subscriber content, that one. But no, you literally don't know what's going on when you're
just
doing
detached
that
from
race.
the real world, aren't you?
It's really weird,
Is it in a way quite nice as well?
It is. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't think I've ever had like 5 days when I looked at my phone because we don't, do we?
No,
you just
we don't.
No, you just
Closest
don't.
I've had is like Dragon's Back and stuff, and it's the first time I did it was a 5-day Dragon's Back, and then the second time was the 6-day. Now in the 5-day, it was the old pure experience, pretty much, no phone signal and all this stuff, and you kind of finish and then you have to adjust again because you haven't got anything to worry about other than basically eating, running, getting yourself from A to B, and no life stresses or whatever. And then the second time I did it, it was 6 days when it finishes in Cardiff, and it was brilliant and it was longer and everything, but because it had been a couple of years later, then they kind of now you can charge your phone in the night, and there seemed to be more signal. So I don't know whether that was because the race had put up whatever, but you could get phone signal and stuff like this. So you could have communication if you wanted. And I remember thinking, it's not quite the same. It's like, again, after a couple of days, you're not even looking at your phone anyway. But you're right. You have 5 or 6 days, and it was. Oh, I've got to think for myself again.
Yeah.
I've got to actually wash my clothes and stuff like this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's weird. You do have to adjust, don't you?
Mm.
Yeah.
Was it weird after you'd finished and you were back with your phone in hand and you're back to normality? Did it hit you, like, when you got to finish and you printed off and saw all these messages? Did you realise then, like, what you'd achieved? Because, by the way, I've not even said where you finished in the race, which I know wasn't as important as the finishing itself, but you were 6th overall in the race, weren't you? Which is an amazing achievement, and just the fact that you finished it.
Yeah.
But when did it sort of hit you, and like this wave of like media attention was on what you were trying to do? Like, it
wasn't until a few days. I think when you finish, you're just so exhausted.
Yeah.
You're like just completely goosed, aren't you, after something like that, because you just drained. And then I went on holiday, which were a bonus.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until then, like a few days later, I was laid by pool and I was looking at all these, because people were sending me stuff that I'd been tagged in. Because like on Instagram, people tag you in stuff, but it goes after, 24 hours or something. So I didn't actually see any of that because they were doing it during race, and then it's gone by the time you
it's
finish.
weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So it wasn't until like people were sending me different articles through like the week after, and I was like, oh God, even these have written something about it, which
I couldn't believe it, could you?
No, really weird. Yeah, because it's weird. I think sometimes as well, like for the dot watchers, they're more invested when you're doing the event. You're just doing it, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're just loving life. You're thinking, oh, this is ace. I'm on Pennine Way. I'm doing the spine.
How did you feel about it? Because I found a bit of a shift. Once I'd had a year out and I'd had this nerve injury and stuff like this, a lot of people wanted to speak to me about that and come back from that obviously more than before, because it hadn't happened, but more than the running side of things. And whereas me, I'm trying to not speak about it, to be honest, and I'm trying not to even draw attention to it as much if I could. But I was also aware that I needed to speak about it because it was helping people. I got loads of messages saying that, and doing the podcast with Ben was probably the biggest thing I did in terms of just talking through from start to finish everything. And then I tried to leave it, but it does just keep cropping up, doesn't it? Because people
does. They're interested.
Like we've done it to you today. He's gone straight in there.
I knew we'd be going on for 3 hours if I didn't go straight in. That's why.
So what I'm trying to say is, do you mind still talking about it?
Oh no,
now?
I don't mind at all. No,
yeah,
no, I don't mind.
No, that's good then.
Like just after the race, in sort of the weeks after, there were quite a lot of messages saying, "Oh, will you do it? Like, speak to us about this."
Yeah.
So that got a little bit, because I just felt I was repeating the same. There's so many times you can say, well, my brain fell out and then I've run spine. Like that's it, innit, really?
Yeah, it is,
without going into too much detail. But even places like Take a Break magazine, they were like pestering for the story. But you don't mind with running related things, because they're interested in the comeback from the running, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Whereas Take a Break were interested in like making this story that it wasn't really what it was, because they're trying to do it for a different agenda.
Sometimes you wonder what the angle is when it's like, why do you want to speak to me, kind of thing. Yeah,
so we're a bit careful really with talking about it in that way.
And plus because like Ben's touched on, like you're not like me trying to grow stuff and things like this. You're just you being a runner, and then all of a sudden you've got all this attention. And it's, I can imagine it's quite overwhelming at first, especially when you're so tired and things.
That's the thing, you're trying to get through, because you've had
trying to recover from a race.
6 days of catching up with, like, your friends have been messaging, and you want to sort of reply to them first, don't you? The people.
Yeah, you've got to prioritise that.
Yeah, you've got to prioritise that.
And you do feel bad when you see, because I've had it in the past where you look and people have genuinely sent you messages that you've genuinely missed. Instagram works so weird these days. There's different inboxes and all sorts, and messages disappear, and then sometimes I'll say, I did message you, and I'm sorry, but you do missed so much, and you feel bad, so then you try and reply to everything, and then that's not always good either. Yeah, it's a bit draining, I imagine, for doing something so crazy like the spine, plus your story, plus not knowing what was coming after you'd finished.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't happen that often.
No, and you're completely knackered and you just want to go on holiday.
Plus,
and
when you haven't asked
binge.
for that attention, unlike me and Ben, we're asking for it all the time. I'm always interested how people deal with it, to be honest. Yeah.
I will say as well, Mel is so unique in the sense that, and because we've known each other for a long time now, and even pre-brain surgery and pre-spine, I've always said, oh, Mel, I've got this opportunity to do this with work, or I'm going to send you this kit, this. And sometimes you knock me back. Like, she'll say, no, I'm not bothered about that pair of trainers, or I'm not bothered about that. Whereas most people bite my hands off. But Mel refuses to do what you call it wanky content, don't you? I'm not doing any wanky content. And I absolutely love that, because she's just like...
you call me?
Carry on. You're the first person I've asked. Will you review these? But you've always been somebody who stayed true to the self and your values, and you've never really bought into that whole side of social media, have you? And I know for a fact as well, pre and post spine, you've had a lot of brands wanting you to be an athlete for them, an ambassador, wanting to give you a load of kit. And like, let me be straight as well, some of these deals are incredible, and you've just been like, do you know what? I'm not bothered.
Bothered.
It is so refreshing in this day and age for somebody in your position to be knocking these big brands back, because you just want to do it for the running, don't you? Genuinely, yeah. So you're not somebody who wants to. You don't strive for the limelight. You're not bothered about having the latest kit. I mean, we talked how expensive this spine kit is. A brand would pay for all that fit, and you've already had all that offered, and you've said no. And I think it's nice to talk
what about
about
bikes?
That.
If bikes started knocking on the door,
Take a bike. Anyone?
That might be slightly different, mightn't it? But no, it's refreshing, isn't it? Because it's true, isn't it? And I really like that, and I think it's something I wanted to mention, because it's rare these days that somebody in your position is like that. It's good. Yeah, it's back to basics.
You've been involved in the sport, mate, a long time now, haven't you? I mean, what we're talking, 20 odd years?
Yeah, so I mean, my mum and dad, they were runners. They raced for Claytonley Moors, and my dad, he would race. He'd be like a serial racer, like race like twice a weekend.
Darren Fishwick type.
Yeah, and do all the sort of bit more low key sort of races, a lot around like Lancashire and the Dales, and would eventually, would sometimes go up to the Lake District, but like, we'd sort of just follow him around as kids and just go and watch all of his races, and just get into the race. A big sort of start up for me was sort of racing like the under 12s races at like the Wooden Tops, at Haworth.
Yeah, Dave Woodhead and Eileen Woodhead put those in there.
That was a real sort of starting point for me, going there. And I used to get so nervous as a kid, like the day before, or the day and like the morning before. I can remember driving there thinking like, oh, my stomach's churning. And
do you remember much about throwing yourself into those races and stuff? Because I sometimes think of my kids, because they're like 9 or 7 now, and the daughter especially, she's well into the sport. But like you said, you would go into all the races with your dad.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sometimes thinking, like, if you drag them to all these races, do they actually want to be there? Like, do you have good memories?
Sometimes I didn't, because the nerves were so much. But like, you sort of just go with it, because to be fair, and that's why the Dave and Eileen races were so good, because they had such good prizes as kids. You're like, I just really want to get that curly whirly at the end of the race. Like, you'd just be like, I just want that curly whirly. Or,
Ben's the same now.
That's never lost, mate. Yeah, it's never worn off.
So you'd have that incentive to race, even though you might not feel like it at the time.
Yeah.
And then you just keep turning up. And what stuck with me was like all the vests of all the like clubs, like you'd have like Settle Harriers with a silver stripe and the Keithley Craven, and that was all part of it. And like, oh god,
it's like that rivalry.
Like the Keithley Craven, let's say they're all like, I'll have a good set of like, and you're like, oh. And I was always coming, I'd be like consistently like 12 or 14, in like the under 12s and stuff. And my brothers, they raced, Joss and Rory, and my cousin raced, and he was always like better than me. And
That's Mark Addison,
Mark
isn't it?
Addison, yeah. And
your sister,
as kids. Well, to be fair, there's loads. I've got a little sister, Holly, and she would race as well. So we'd all sort of get involved. Holly wasn't as keen, but she would still race. and you know, we'd just be going to all these races and just keep turning up and coming 12th or 10th and stuff. And then gradually, you know, I started getting a bit more fixated on like the championships. And to be fair, I can remember the time when it really sort of what real sparked it for me was like I was at my uncle's house, and he's a runner, Sean Addison, and he had this on video, this the Three Peaks of 1993, and it was on like Look North or something, and we watched it, and I can remember like my dad was racing it, and we were looking out, and it's raining, and you know, there's like Mark Crosdale like running up Ingleborough, and they like slowed it right down. And he's like running up there, and they've got REM, Everybody Hurts, playing in background. And I was just like, this guy's like absolute hero, absolute legend. I was like, and then he had a 4-minute lead, but he ended up losing it, and Gavin Bland won. But I was just like watching this, like, he had a 4-minute lead. You know, as the juniors, we'd be separated by like 5 seconds or something or whatever. And I'd be like thinking,
who is this guy? That's
cool. Like, he's a 4-minute lead. And then, you know, just sort of get suckered. And then my dad would have all like the videos of like the English championships of like 2000, 2002. I'd be sat there like, you know, before going to school, my mates would be waiting for me. I'd be like, just let me watch top 10 come in. And like, you know, there'd be like your Ian Holmes and Rob Jebbs and Rob Opes. You know, I'd be like, they were my heroes. Like,
you're almost breastfed on it then, weren't you? Like,
I would just be obsessed. To be fair, I'd be obsessed because I'd go to school, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I would go to school, and I'd like after that, like watching them, I'd start writing up my own like fantasy championships, like in my rough book at school, like right, my championship would be Langdale Horsham. Gavin Bland would win that, you know, and it'd be like ridiculous. It'd be like, what are you doing? And I was just so...
You were just missing a Panini sticker book, weren't you, at that point? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of now.
I was just so obsessed with it.
There must have been some real highs and lows. Like, just talk to us about that. What were the highs, first of all?
Do you know what? Nearly all of it were high.
Were you buzzing?
Yeah. Even when I was killed up in a ball in Horton toilets on floor, there were no... because that's what you sign up to do. Like, I knew I had the kit to do it. Like, I knew where I had to get to at certain points. So there wasn't really any... I cried going over Crossfell, but not in a... Like,
was it like just emotional? Was it emotional?
Yeah, I think it was just overtiredness.
Yeah,
but the sun were out. It were absolutely ace.
It's pure simplicity as well, isn't it? Going back to what we were saying, there's no phone in your hand. You're on your own. You're in the elements. It's like almost primal, isn't it? You know, you're out there for that length of time.
And that's what you want to do. That's what you've trained. Yeah, that's the experience. So, obviously, the first 2 days when the weather wasn't great, but there were no real low points because I thought, well, that's why I'm doing the winter spine, because if I didn't want these shit conditions, I'd have done summer one, although it's rained when I've done summer one as well. But that's part of it. That's the challenge of doing it, innit? And doing these longer events.
I suppose as well, and going through everything that you've been through those last 14 months as well, you're probably just so relieved to be back out there doing it, weren't you? And feeling like, you know, lucky as well, because like it could have worked out differently, couldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But being able to get that opportunity to go and do what you love and experience that, that's a really interesting.
Yeah, so even the bits where it wasn't as good as the rest of it, there were no bits where I ever thought, oh God, what am I doing here? Because it was
sometimes you look at yourselves in those situations and you think, well, I've put myself here, but even like you say, lying in the piss and the toilet floor in the sleeping bag, you can almost enjoy that fact, because what situation would you be in when you put yourself into that? It's only to get to that finish line or whatever. And it's, you can, I know what you're saying, you can kind of slightly take enjoyment even out of that situation, which sounds ridiculous.
But you're like, yes, I'm in it, I'm doing this, I'm in this race that I've nipped up to Pennine Way to see him obviously come past Wesley, which is what, mile and a half from home, for years and years, been up and stood there and thought, look at these crazy bastards, like I never do all like that. And then you're in it and you're doing it, and it's just you're just lucky to be able to do it, aren't you? Because there's a lot of people that can't do out like that. And even to get into the event, now these days. He's looking
Plus,
to
you
be
have to
able
do
to
it again and again to justify the expense on the kit. I think that's why people keep going back.
Yeah, every time you do it,
Can't do
it's
it
better
once, can you?
value.
So you're definitely watching. We've got a couple of packs of Danny's protein rice cakes here.
Oh, yes.
I love the way you branded it as well, mate. You've got the old school picture of yourself on that original YouTube video, haven't you? 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
Danny's
12 o'clock,
protein
4
rice
o'clock.
cake.
Brilliant, mate. These are really, really good.
Crack 'em
Yeah.
When
open.
I won't munch them just yet, though. I will have
yeah.
to
What
be straight
flavour have
after.
you got
but
there,
yeah.
Ben? What flavour have you got there?
Oh, white chocolate and milk chocolate.
Yeah, I've got white chocolate.
when
yeah.
you're putting your content out there, right? So like, someone taught me something that helped me is, what I really liked is how to make this stuff, like how to make a video, whether it's sound, video, the quality, how to structure it so that it grabs people's attention and stuff like this. So my whole thing is, what am I doing? Am I teaching them something? Am I trying to make them laugh? Am I giving them value? That kind of stuff. So every video that I do, I set up like that. So I'm trying to make those videos. Some of them are quite throwaway, right? But some of them, I set them up, or the structure of them, and I'm trying to improve it, or at least keep it to a standard. And I think once I do that, then I don't care what comments come below it, because I know that video was better than the last one, maybe, or at least at the same standard. You can't really chase the algorithm. But as long, like you said, if you're putting out stuff that's about me and it's about it's about my brand, people can't argue with that. So the numbers might matter for sales, but the numbers will come if you keep doing what you're doing.
I think that people get too scared of failing or looking silly.
Yeah.
I think that the more you post, the better it's going to be, and one of them will hit an algorithm or something like that. And if you're just happy with your content, you've just got to do it and take your ego out of it. That's what I felt.
It's really good advice, because it does get to a lot of people, and I'm sure we've all been there where Gary's just eating that and enjoying it out. Yeah. But in like social media now, it can take over people's lives, can't it? For the bad part of it as well, because you can get hung up on people's comments, and for probably a time you probably didn't you, for a bit? Because I've done it before.
Oh, I used to
on a smaller scale,
I used to read the comments, and my mum, bless her, she'd reply to every single negative one and be like, she'd say he's thick as anything. Like, I thought fish was brain food, and like my mum would. He got 6 GCSEs. And I'm like, Mum, stop it. Yeah. You're making it worse. So she'd reply to them all and like get really offended. But then now... I'm Einstein.
Love it.
But yeah, I've had to, and now I can see it. I can see it so much more clearly. But it has taken 20 years.
Yeah. Was there a point where the light just switched, almost like when you realised you wanted to get monetize this in a way?
Gradually. Yeah. I think.
Did your mate play a part as well?
My mate. Yeah. So because my mate,
I've spoke to similar people that. And I know so many people have got good ideas, but they never have the push to do it.
That's my friend. So my friend was like, "We've got to do this," and I was like, "Mate, no." And I don't believe in myself either. I guess I'm quite. It'll never work. People are not interested. But just giving all the excuses, it probably would work. We'd have a drink. Oh yeah, we'd probably smash it. And then the next day, when it came to it, because it's like I've invested my own money in this, so it's a big deal.
That tastes brilliant, by the way. I don't like rice cakes.
I'm going to have mine after this, because I won't stop eating. That's my fear if I start on that.
Like, the texture is not like a rice cake to me.
No, and it's light, isn't it? And it's, low calorie. You're hitting your protein goal. Yeah, low carbohydrates.
So that's what, 15 grams?
15 grams of protein.
What is it, whey protein in it?
Yeah.
We'll get you back on to see where we're at in a few months maybe, and see where we're both at, because we're both doing the champs race this weekend.
I might start going backwards.
I think I probably will. I think you'll kick on now, but no, it's brilliant, mate. And without further ado, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Cheers, lads.
But no, thanks, Danny, for your time. Thanks for coming, and I'm sure everybody listening to this will agree. It's been a brilliant episode as this. So thanks a lot. And without further ado, we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Is that a?
That's Ben's little thing. Mate.
Oh,
yeah. I'm going to keep it going.
Does he know?
Yeah.